Hello and welcome to another review. Today we have Pharaoh, a new era. And as always, I'll jump straight into I think it's worth buying Pharaoh, a new era. And my opinion on that is that it's a yes, but there is a small caveat in there. And I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But what is Pharaoh, a new era? So Pharaoh is basically one of the defining genre for the city builders. It's a remake in high definition, so you have like improved graphics, improved UI, and you can build monuments, manage your population, and you're going through 4,000 years of history from the Egypt, and you have more than 50 missions as well. It's basically one of the city builders that define the city builders as we have today. And obviously there are different mechanics because this was one of the first that were out there. And if you love city builder games, you probably heard about this before. If you haven't, this is a must play for you. But before we get into any of the details, I just want to thank you for all your likes, all your comments. I really appreciate that. And let's get into it. So what I like about this game, well, it's a classic and it's back. So I think we can all agree that having games like these, the classics, and they coming back, being redone, making sure that they have better mechanics, that they fit with today's requirements and with today's world. It's really, really nice. And I think they're doing a good job. Certainly, there are a few things that we are potentially missing or that are not very popular. So one of the things that are not very popular is the actual UI for the game. They mentioned that they have a modernized UI, but for some people, it's quite confusing. I have to agree that in some areas, you don't have much information, or the information is hard to find, or you don't have on the screen what you would prefer to have or would make sense to have. And it's quite, sometimes it's a bit challenging. But other than that, I think it's a nice way of bringing this genre back, and I really like it. And if you played that before in the past, you should definitely give it a try and see what it is and how it works, because I think like I'm having so much fun with this game, going back and remember the back in the days when I played it, and I had quite a lot of fun. The game has also very simple mechanics. So in terms of how you build things, you have a fixed cost, you put down a building and it's there. You don't have to wait for it to be built. You have workers and you basically create new houses and people moving. And as you create the housing, more people start to move in as well. So it's very simple. It's very easy to learn at the same way because of the simple mechanics, and this makes things very enjoyable for any levels of knowledge on this game. As I mentioned, it's fun. It's very good to pass the time, but it's potentially not a game that most people would spend like hundreds of hours, like they're mentioning. I don't know how long it would take you to go through the 50 missions that they say. Plus, you have a sandbox mode, obviously. But I don't feel, or I don't see myself playing this game as much as that. It feels a little bit too much. It's just like I think they're overdoing it a little bit, but it's still fun. It's still nice to play it, and it's quite an enjoyable experience altogether. But it's not all roses, as you can see by my comments. There are things that are really, really hard. For example, when your city gets really large, it's really hard to manage. This is the same problem I had when this game first came out, like years and years ago, and it's still a problem right now for me personally. I feel like it's not an easy experience to go through all of that and to manage larger cities, especially when you are in sandbox. But something that I never like it, and it's a very personal opinion. Uh, Take this with a grain of salt because that's not for everyone. But I don't like the deity system. I feel like you're trying to please too many deities. You are kind of wasting a lot of resource. Like, yeah, apologies for saying wasting resource, but you are. It's just like you could be using it or feeding people to make them happy, but no, you were just giving all of that away to temples and things like that. But it's part of the thing, the Egypt and their religion, which I respect and I also appreciate. But for just for gameplay, I want to make it clear, just for the gameplay, this isn't something that I truly enjoy too much. But again, this is my personal opinion. One of the things that have been very mixed feelings across the whole community is basically not having any more combat system. So I don't know if they reintroduce it, but so far I haven't seen any options on combat system. And looking through the reviews in the game, it seems like it's a kind of a problem. They've removed it because of some issues with the previous system. I just don't know if they're still planning to reintroduce that with a new mechanic, with a more a smarter way of doing it. I really don't know, but you don't have that anymore. For some, it's okay because you are just focused on the building factor, on managing the city, and that is a lot for you to manage as it is. Like, don't get me wrong. I didn't completely miss it. I just felt, well, where is that? And it's not there, right? So that's the only thing about this. But at the same time, there are several updates coming out. I've seen like updates every couple of weeks or so. And since I've started playing the initial release until now, there were quite a few updates coming out with a lot of fixes, making sure that everything is as it should be. They are listening to the feedback, they look at it, and they make sure that they are providing the best experience possible. So, all in all, do I think it's still worth it playing or buying Pharaoh a new area and playing it? I definitely think so. Especially if you're a fan of the genre, I think it's a must for you to know where it all started and how it all evolved as well. So take a look, give it a try, see if that's for you. You can see a bit of a gameplay here. I do have a very small let's play on my channel as well, where I go through the first 3 scenarios of the campaign, and you can make your own decision. But in my opinion, it's been very enjoyable. I've liked it. I think it's worth it, at least so you know how it all started. And finally, thank you again for all your comments, for all your likes, for all your feedback. I really appreciate it all. If you have questions, please let me know in the comment section. Consider joining our Discord server as well, because I think we have a really nice community there and we share ideas, we talk about these games, and there's always something happening. And consider watching the video on your screen, because I think you might like that as well. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!